Hello, Turbo Girl. Today, we are going to learn about reflexive pronouns. Do you remember what pronouns are?
Yes, pronouns are pointing words.
That's correct. We use a reflexive pronoun when the subject and the object in a sentence refers to the same person. For example, Turbo Boy is looking at himself in the mirror. The subject, Turbo Boy, refers to the person Turbo Boy, and the object, himself, also refers to the person Turbo Boy. That's why we use the reflexive pronoun himself in the sentence. If we say, Turbo Boy is looking at him, the object noun is no longer Turbo Boy. It is somebody else. So, we know that Turbo Boy is now not looking at himself, but somebody else. We also use reflexive pronouns to show emphasis. For example, my sister baked the cake by herself. We use the reflexive pronoun herself in this sentence to make it obvious that my sister and not anybody else was the person who baked the cake. Reflexive pronouns can be in the singular or plural form. The singular reflexive pronouns are myself, yourself, himself, herself, and itself. The plural reflexive pronouns are ourselves, yourselves, and themselves. Let's look at singular reflexive pronouns first. We use the first person reflexive pronoun, myself, when the speaker is talking about himself or herself. For example, if Turbo Boy says, I go to school by myself. This sentence tells us that Turbo Boy goes to school on his own. We use the second person reflexive pronoun, yourself, when we are referring to the person whom we are talking to. For example, if I say to Turbo Boy, you should do your homework by yourself, the reflexive pronoun yourself refers to Turbo Boy, since I am talking to him. The third person reflexive pronouns himself and herself are used when we are talking about someone else. We use himself for boys and men. For example, Turbo Baby tripped and hurt himself. We use the reflexive pronoun himself to refer to Turbo Baby. We use herself for girls and women. Look at this example. She is looking at herself in the mirror. We use the reflexive pronoun herself to refer to the girl. When we are talking about an animal or thing, we use the third person reflexive pronoun itself. For example, my cat can open the door by itself. We use the reflexive pronoun itself to refer to the cat. Let's now look at the first person plural reflexive pronoun ourselves. Ourselves is the plural form of myself. We use it when two or more people are talking about themselves. For example, we enjoyed ourselves at the beach yesterday. We use the reflexive pronoun ourselves to refer to the pronoun we in the sentence. Yourselves is the plural form of yourself. We use yourselves when we are referring to two or more people whom we are talking to. For example, you may help yourselves to the food on the table. We use the reflexive pronoun yourselves to refer to the same group of people as you in the sentence. Let's look at the last reflexive pronoun. Themselves is the plural form of himself, herself, and itself. We use themselves when we are talking about more than two people, animals, or things. For example, my sisters bought new clothes for themselves. We use the plural reflexive pronoun themselves to refer to sisters in the sentence. Turbo Girl, can you understand all that I've taught you today?
Sure, teacher. This is easy. Let me repeat it for you. We learned about reflexive pronouns. They are myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, and themselves. We use a reflexive pronoun when the subject and the object in a sentence refer to the same person. For example, Turbo Boy is looking at himself in the mirror. Himself points back to the subject Turbo Boy, who is the same person Turbo Boy. We also use reflexive pronouns to show emphasis. For example, I baked this cake myself. We use the first person reflexive pronoun myself when the speaker is talking about himself or herself, and we use the second person reflexive pronoun yourself when we are referring to the person whom we are talking to. The third person reflexive pronoun himself and herself is used when we are talking about someone else. When we are talking about an animal or a thing, we use the third person reflexive pronoun itself. Ourselves is the plural form of myself, and we use it when two or more people are talking about themselves. Yourselves is the plural form of yourself. We use it when we are referring to two or more people whom we are talking to. Finally, themselves is the plural form of himself, herself, and itself. We use it when we are talking about more than two people, animals, or things.
Good job, Turbo Girl.